Minister Keith Muhammad, who has been very outspoken for the murder of Oscar Grant, who has stood with us for the past 2 years and going forward, who have been very vocal in this community.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is but one God. I bear witness that Moses, that Jesus, that Muhammad are his messengers. It gives me great privilege to stand before you on behalf of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and all of the Nation of Islam. And surely it's been an honor and privilege for me to have served the Johnson Grant family since the time of the terrible murder of Oscar Grant on January the 1st of 2009 that led this community to cry out for justice right here from these steps. So it is right here in Oakland, California, in the halls of these chambers, that demands were made that an officer, Johannes Messerly, be charged with the murder of Oscar Grant. To be very clear, his charge was not normal, it was abnormal. It was not expected, it was unexpected. For 400 times a year, law enforcement kills somebody. And 400 times a year, law enforcement officers walk away having been told that it is a justifiable homicide. We are here in the city of Oakland that responded and reacted by uniting and organizing to make sure that charges would be brought against Johannes Messerly. We support those that have stood together, rain or shine, heaven or hell, to camp here, to oppose the way things have been.
That's right.
None of us can call ourselves, quote, conservative. What would we be saving? Even if we talked about the fact that this is called an Occupy movement. Well, this whole nation was occupied by an illegal immigrant that stole every square inch of the land and then stole the people that provided her with wealth by forcing us into free labor for 310 long years and then swindled us out of our labor after that. It was in this city that black worker unions began to make demands that we would also be offered some fair wage and way of living. Well, why? If you're standing here for Oscar Grant, would you take your time to talk about what has happened for the last 400 years? Because the thing that happened over the last 400 years is what brought you and I here today. We are the victims of greedy people. We are the victims of those law enforcement authorities that owe more of their allegiance to the wealthy and the powerful than it does to the masses of the people. Law enforcement in this hour has to be very careful. If you take a moment to consider that they charged Muammar Gaddafi for mistreating those that protested against him, and that they charged Hosni Mubarak for mistreating those that protested against him, and they're charging the president of Syria for mistreating those that protested against them. They called those uprisings in the Middle East the Arab Spring. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said that the Arab Spring would become the American autumn, meaning the very thing that America charges so-called dictators with. She's guilty of herself. So if we are to survive peacefully through these days, we have to be very mindful, not we, law enforcement. For I've not seen one video clip of protesters attacking the police, but I've seen many video clips of police attacking protesters. Well, that is only to say very clearly that in order to get through this kind of time, one would expect that those that instruct law enforcement instruct them to hold their hand, to keep their peace, Yes, they have a job to do, but that job should not include brutalizing those that are exercising their First Amendment rights of speech. And so we stand firmly, not only with the family of Oscar Grant, of course, that's why we are here, but this struggle that this family has suffered was here before Oscar, I, or Uncle Bobby was born. And it may be here after we are gone. But one thing we do know, that if we don't take a stand while we are living, then life is not worth living.
Right now.
So we are here
Yes,
with other families. The family of Derek Jones and his father Frank, who is here, who was gunned down on Bancroft in seminary. The family of others, Kenneth Harding, because he did not buy a bus pass, changing buses in San Francisco, gunned down with at least 7 cameras present, and you've not seen one video footage on television. The family of Brownie Polk. And while that case seemingly has gone away, have you noticed you never saw the video of Brownie Polk being gunned down? Now we're looking at the design of government. We think we have free press. And because we think we have free press, we've been deceived into believing we actually are living in a free democracy.
Yes, sir.
It's not been a free democracy.
Yes, sir.
As Malcolm X said, it's been hundreds of years of well-dressed hypocrisy.
Yes, sir.
The freedom of the press has not fully existed here.
Yes, sir.
So there are those who wish that they could report what we're saying right now.
Yes.
That's why we're thankful that there are those who, following the technologies of men like the man of Apple that just passed away, one of the 1%, Steve Jobs, but he provided a technology. And the technology that he and many others have provided have allowed the American people and all people to now put information out that heretofore would have remained a secret. Were it not for the videotape, we would not have seen a trial for the murder of Oscar Grant.
That's right.
And as strong as the video evidence was, the judge never wanted to see that officer convicted.
He's a murderer.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that when a cop goes to trial, that he will wink at the judge and say, yeah, I shot him, or I shot the N-word, and that the judge will wink back and say, I wish it had been me.
Wow.
So while we were sitting in court, we were looking close in the judge's eyes. He was winking, he was rubbing, he was twisting and turning. You had to be there on sentence day to hear the convoluted explanation he gave for not sentencing Johannes Mesley as he should have been sentenced. One law school expert said to me that whenever a judge rambles and gives a convoluted explanation, that means that the fix is in. So when we walked in, the judge said, I'm troubled. You're troubled. Cephas Johnson is troubled. You're troubled. Wanda Johnson is troubled. You're troubled. Jackie Bryson is troubled. You're troubled. Carlos Reyes is troubled. What do you mean, Judge? You're troubled. He was given a guilty verdict, but he had to be pushed to bring any kind of sentencing, and he dismissed the thought that the oppression that was shared with him by the many letters sent him by the supporting public desiring justice, he dismissed all of their letters. Said in words, get this stuff away from me. I don't want to hear it. Don't come in my courtroom with an Oscar Grant Justice t-shirt, and we're going to get this thing over with. So family, we're here to unite with those that are occupying for justice, and know that the economic injustice that brought you here is the same economic injustice that brought what is now 40 million descendants of slaves here. It is the same economic injustice that stole this land from the native people. And so the same greedy people that mistreat those of us that are a little darker than others is now the greed that is now manifesting itself before the eyes of the world, forcing us to realize that the root of America's suffering, quite frankly, is basic immorality. She doesn't see things in right and wrong. She sees things in profit and loss. Basic immorality and greed, where vanity and lust and inordinate self-interest has become the way of life. So now this community of people are standing up to fight against that way of life that is saying to you that a house that a few years ago you could buy for $35,000 now will cost you $500,000, give you a fake loan, and leave you homeless when you can't pay off a fake loan when you spent $500,000 on a $35,000 home. That's criminal.
Yes, sir. That's cold.
That's criminal greed.
Yes, sir.
And when people ask, well, how did the prices go up so fast? Oh, it was just the market. No, it was criminal greed that was tricking the poor people who wanted to have a slice of the American dream.
That's right.
And gave us, after we received the payment stubs, the American nightmare. As Malcolm said, we were took. We were had. We were bamboozled. We were led astray. We were run amok in the name of the market. That's why we are here. This is why you went into the banks and withdrew your money. Because we have grown tired of being exploited by the 1%. Family, thank you for your time and attention. We stand strong with the family of Oscar Grant. We stand strong with all of those that are suffering injustice.
So let us not forget, we're standing on Oscar Grant Plaza. Again, the family send much love out to all the residents that are here now living on Oscar Grant Plaza. We thank you for what you've renamed to Oscar Grant Plaza. We thank you for standing for the 99%. We thank you for remembering Oscar Grant. And next, I'd like to have John Burrs come up and speak, who has been the family